Hello and welcome to Eliza Labs plugin tutorial session. Today we have Aidar, founding engineer of Compass Labs, who's built a very interesting plugin that lets you execute directly into DeFi. In this tutorial, he's going to talk you through how to use it to let your agent autonomously, and say, execute or deploy positions. And yeah, Aidar, over to you.
Hi, hello everyone. My pleasure to present today. So let me first cover what Compass Labs is about, and then we'll dive into the live demo of the plugin in Eliza. So firstly, what problem that we're trying to solve is that DeFi is very complex. It's very complex for engineers and people that are native to crypto, but it's even more complex to normies and people that don't use crypto in their daily lives. So the problem that we're solving is all the technicalities that come with using DeFi, knowing solidity, knowing how nodes work, all that stuff. We try to abstract away, and we have two main products that we support. The first one is a backtesting tool, so you can create and develop backtesting strategies or strategies for backtesting. Currently, we support Uniswap, Aave, and GMX for the backtest. And the second one is Compass API. So that API lets you do the execution part of our stack. It sits at the very end of what we offer and basically lets people to execute anything in DeFi from a simple API call. So with the Compass API, we connect users to blockchains and protocols directly. Currently, we have Ethereum, Arbitrum, and Base integrated. You can use Uniswap, Aave on Ethereum and Arbitrum, and Aerodrome on Base. So that's the end of what Compass is about. This is the repository for our plugin for Eliza. The plugin is designed to integrate into Eliza, our API, and our API poses a list of endpoints that you can find on our API documentation. We have three protocols integrated into the API, which are Aave, Aerodrome, and Uniswap. And you can use three different blockchains for this: Ethereum, Arbitrum, and Base. So the plugin is built on top of an SDK, a TypeScript SDK that we deployed to NPM. And the API provides two different types of endpoints. The first one is read endpoints. So you can actually query data off chain through the API. In this particular example, we're getting prices of an Aave oracle. There is a second type of endpoints in the API, and those provide an unsigned transaction for a given action that you want to take. So in this example, we are trying to supply on Aave, and in case when the request is successful, what you get back is an unsigned transaction in this format, which a user can then sign using VM from our example and broadcast it to the blockchain. So let's go ahead and install our plugin Analyzer. Let's start Analyzer up. And I've already filled out the .env file from before. And I have created a character similar to the one we can see in the docs of our repository. So there are two ways that you would be able to speak to Eliza. In this case, is the default UI that comes with Eliza by default. But in our case, we're going to use. So this is going to go ahead and fetch the other positions for me using the read endpoint on the API. And we can see the summary of my positions on Aave. What I have supplied is $48 worth of crypto. And if we check my Aave page I can see that there is like 48 USDC on Aave right now. Now, let's say I want to withdraw this. So it's executed the Aave withdrawal for me now. We can see that from Arbiscan, and we can also see that from the Aave page if I reload it. Now my USDC balance has gone down. Let's check our USDC balance. Okay, our USDC balance now is 48.6 USDC. Let's try and swap this to ARB. Okay, now we see we can actually also make a swap of USDC to ARB. Let's just do another sanity check. We can see here my ARB balance is around 180. Let's apply this to ARB. Okay, so now I actually get an API error. And what's the error here is because we haven't set the allowance for using ARP on Aave. We can do that through the plugin as well. So that's gone through. And let's just supply again. Okay, now we supply it on Aave. We can also check it over here. ARP shows up. So it's around $60 worth of ARP. What we can do is we can borrow, let's say 20 USDC off of the 60 that we've provided, $60 worth of ARP that we've supplied. Now, the plugin is smart enough to understand to ask user questions as to, for example, what kind of interest rate they'll be willing to take on. Because in this case, we haven't actually given context as to which one we want to use. And it's going to come back with a question as to which interest rate you want to use. Let's say variable. And now we have borrowed 20 USDC from our, and that's about it. That's how the plugin is installed, configured, and run with the Telegram client.
Amazing. So that's interacting directly into the markets from the Telegram UI, correct? Using Eliza.
Yep.
Yeah. And so Compass Labs has multiple API endpoints that are all accessible through the plugin, right?
Yep, they're accessible through the plugin and they are accessible on their own. If you want to use the API, currently there is no authorization involved. These endpoints are all open. All the users have to do is basically call an endpoint with an example request body that we provide. And then they need to configure, obviously, like this, the send address and like the assets that they want to, for example, supply on Aave, right? And then they would need to sign the transaction if the request is successful and broadcast it to the blockchain. But that's something that we've programmed in the plugin, so they just does it automatically whenever the API response is 200.
Great. Makes sense. And the approval step makes for, I guess this enables you to not accidentally deploy positions using the agent, but how to ensure that the agent is doing the right thing? Or what's the safety mechanisms or fallback here?
So the safety mechanism we have currently in the plugin itself is using ZOT models
Yeah.
that basically check the kind of information that you're providing, and if it's the correct type, and do you have enough context? Do you have enough information to actually perform the action? If you don't, it comes back with a question and says, "Give me these pieces of information." And in terms of like how correct numbers are, we haven't seen the agent do anything wrong, but we do have validation in mind in terms of the correctness of the information that the user provides. And this will definitely come into the plugin very soon. It's something that we're working on right now.
Right. Interesting. Aidar, thank you so much for coming and presenting. I think this is a very interesting plugin to see emerge. For me, execution in from agents is the next step for what is happening in the space. And it's great to see this solution come to market and be usable. I very much look forward to seeing you engage more builders in the ecosystem and see this kind of be used in a whole range of ways. For the audience listening, I think in the description, there's going to be some links to the plugin and of course some information about Compass Labs. So give them a follow and let's call that a wrap. Thank you very much.
Cool. Thanks for your time, Ben. It was
You're
my
welcome.
pleasure today, and I'll see you all later.
See you online. Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye.